Welcome to the DFW region, and to start, we'll hang around in Fort Worth for a bit, starting out with the Ridgmar Mall. Don't worry, we'll get a look at that fountain later. There's a much better one deeper in the mall, though. Now, on paper, this is a dead mall, and I'm sure some of you are telling me right now that this mall should have closed a long time ago. Well, unfortunately for you, it's still here, and it seems just too stubborn to die. I'll explain more as we go for a walk. Ridgmar Mall would be confirmed in 1974 as leasing and construction began under the lead of Carl B. Edwards, a managing agent for the M.A. Kravitz Company. And after 2 years of commuting between Fort Worth and the company HQ in Pennsylvania, he would see the mall officially open on October 20th, 1976. Original anchors would include the elusive Original Dillard's, whom opened up several months ahead of the mall, and JCPenney, whom opened with the mall. Also opening with the mall would be a rare department store known as Stripling's. Neiman Marcus and Sears were also in the plans, and they would open after the mall in 1977. The mall started off strong, with its own gala ceremony, while many stores within the mall hosted their own ceremonies and special sales. Stripling's would have been a long-standing department store from the late 1800s, and in the 1980s, they would merger with department store Cox's in 1981. Cox. Make up your own joke there. This would form Stripling and Cox, whom would continue operations between original storefronts and mall locations. However, they would only last at the Ridgmar Mall until 1988, deciding not to renew their lease at the store. This would wind up being the third store in the chain to shut its doors as both companies were struggling pre-merger. This merger allowed the company to continue existing, but they would ultimately go under in 2007. While Stripling's was a weak link for the mall, the rest of the anchor roster actually remained relatively unchanged, with Dillard's, JCPenney, Sears, and even Neiman Marcus all making it into the mall's late life. However, Ridgmar Mall would wind up hitting a low period in the 90s, struggling and losing tenants as residents began leaving the west side of Fort Worth due to the closure of the Carswell Air Force Base. Additionally, Hewlin Mall was becoming a dangerous competitor, siphoning away specialty shops from Ridgmar. Hewlin Mall is a story for another video. Around 1997, having been previously owned by Kravco and JCP Realty amid its life, the mall would wind up getting sold to the Shopko Group based out of New York, and they immediately stepped in with plans to fill the vacant Stripling's anchor with a new store, Foley's. Locals and business owners in and around the mall welcomed the new owners, believing they could get the mall back up to speed. Foley's would open in 1998, and during this time, a $60 million renovation and facelift would be confirmed, as well as the addition of a massive movie theater, which was a welcome surprise between tenants and shoppers alike. And in 1999, the $60 million renovation would begin. Actually, there's conflicting reports on archive newspapers on whether it was $60 million or $70 million. The renovations would be finished in 2000, bringing us to the look that we have today, with Art Deco touches inspired by Fort Worth itself, brand new skylights, and a fountain of turtles, which we will see in a moment. Later on, the 13-screen movie theater would open in 2003, and this succeeded in bringing the tenants as well as the shoppers back despite hot competition against the Hewlin Mall and the big box boom of the mid-2000s. However, Shopko development would have put the mall up for sale in 2005. It seems that Shopko choked themselves out on this mall and would sell it to Macerich in 2005 for the low price of $71.1 million. Macerich did see potential and intended to draw in more upscale tenants for the mall. Remember Foley's? Well, in 2006, Macy's would come in to consume that nameplate and take their space over. Macerich's plans didn't seem to pan out, and they would wind up selling the mall in 2013 to a company called GK Development. No price was disclosed, and occupancy for the mall was still good. For now. And around this time, the Dallas-Fort Worth region was practically exploding in population. Compared to what they already had at the time, it wasn't that significant a jump, but it was more than enough to overwhelm the market and infrastructure. GK Development initially announced that they would attract more retailers and explore opportunities to pivot towards mixed use. This water feature ties the whole mall together. Don't you agree? No? Okay. In 2016, you would think that the mall would score big time as it secured Fort Worth's first H&M store. However, they would only last 4 years before leaving Ridgmar for dead. Macy's would announce in 2016 that they would be closing their store at the Ridgmar Mall in an effort to cut costs. Neiman Marcus, meanwhile, would close in 2017 after 41 years of operation at the mall, relocating to another shopping center. It wasn't all bad news, however, as Sequest would open their doors towards the end of 2017. There was supposed to be an athletic fitness complex that would open in the place of Neiman Marcus. However, I don't see any evidence of that even today. Meanwhile, Sears, well, you know what happened. It happened in 2018. As the mall pivoted more towards mixed use, 2020 would see a storage unit take Macy's place, and a military museum would seek a new home in the mall. And, curiously enough, while people have been telling me that this mall is done for and will close next year, including a friend I know who lives a little ways out from the mall, let's see. I went here in 2022, and now we're going on to 2024, and this mall shows no signs of slowing down. Parts of it are unoccupied, and parts of it are in need of upkeep, but Ridgmar Mall seems to have become a haven for smaller businesses, as well as families with children, and GK Development seems to hang on to this place. Even JCPenney is hanging around, although they no longer own their own building. And recently, I've been told that occupancy is going back up. It might not be the premier fashion destination, but it's still kicking. And I admire a mall that refuses to go out completely. From an aesthetic standpoint, I like this mall. It just looks nice to me. I can't explain it, and I don't expect many of you to understand. And the main fountain, it just makes everything look a little better. The smaller fountain by the theater is pretty good too, though compared to the turtles and footbridge near JCPenney, it is very puny. But I gladly welcome it as well, and I will be curious to see where this mall goes in the future. Until next time, Fort Worth, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Ridgmar Mall farewell and good luck in the future. You know, a Texas summer doesn't sound that bad. Didn't feel that bad either.